Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel. Sport Mechanics, it's Nicholas. Today, I present to you the new Rafale 300 horses in the Alpine workshop. We had talked about it very quickly when I went to present the Rafale in Spain. The other atmosphere is cold, it's raining, it's supposed to snow. Tomorrow, we'll see how it goes. As usual, fully test this car. A battery life test, since this time it's a rechargeable hybrid. Renault announces up to 100 kilometers of autonomy. We'll see if it's possible to achieve them. A mix of national, highway and city routes as usual.
To test worldwide harmonized light vehicles test procedure autonomy, a mix is often used.
But Nico's reality, I think it's a little more reliable, to give you an idea. We will perform a test with an empty battery. I've already driven 124 miles more after draining the battery, and I will continue driving. I still have to do 500 kilometers with this car with an empty battery to see what it gives. What they almost often announce now is 1,000 kilometers. We have 55 liters of rear gasoline. We'll see what it gives, even on the highway and others. And loaded with buddies. I won't give you a full detailed Rafale presentation, as the Rafale remains the Rafale. I'm going to give you the specific characteristics of this one, which is in Alpine workshop, so with some special little evolutions, because here, hybrid, rechargeable and a little bit more power, all that. The Rafale measures 15 feet and 5 inches long, the same size as the standard variant. The car is 6 feet 1 inch wide and 5 feet 3 inches high. It doesn't have a roof rack, but features a solar bay on the roof. Specific matte paint for this Alpine workshop. Otherwise, we have the same blue, but with a different varnish that makes it shiny. I must admit, it's quite pretty and sets it apart. We are 400 centimeters wider in track than the Renault Espace, which is already a large vehicle that is now a sport utility vehicle, but here wider to have a better dynamic behavior. We'll see what it gives under the rain. And I'm going to try to find you some small roads today. I'm going to have to do 100 kilometers again to find you a nice little road. Seeing what it yields on dry land isn't always easy, especially in winter. This one is heavier, obviously, because this time we're carrying a 22 kilowatt-hour battery in the back. So that makes the difference compared to the 1.8 kilowatt-hour of the simple hybrid version in E-Tech 200 horses. The E-Tech 200 horses version, it's the engine 1.250 with the electric motors integrated directly into the engine. Next we have the 300 horses model. It features the same E-Tech 1.27 quarts engine, now with a new turbo. 150 horses instead of 134 or 136, so more power. Who gets out of this 150 horses from a 1,2? It's really not bad to see in the long term what it gives these engines. And this time we have 3 electric motors, a 34 horsepower engine always coupled to a kind of alternator starter. All this plus a 70 horsepower engine, so it's coupled. The E-Tech Plus engine at the rear features a 136 horsepower electric motor on the rear wiper.
The car will be mainly at the front, so it will be a front-wheel drive.
Occasionally, when we need it or are in sport mode, we demand maximum power. The rear engine too will come into play, otherwise the rear engine, which will also run in plug-in hybrid electric vehicle mode to transmit power in 100% electric mode. A 22 kW battery that promises 62 miles of range. We'll see how it performs. We have a 7.7 charger, which allows a recharge in 3 hours, about 3 hours and 30 minutes. This Atelier Alpine version is no longer Esprit Alpine, so it's been reworked a little bit by Alpine. For a more dynamic Sportier chassis, we have a controlled suspension with a camera that detects defects. We'll see the same on some defects. It's pretty good. On others, I find it slightly firm. Then, as it's an Atelier Alpine car, maybe it's intended to be a little bit firmer for everyday use.
We have the solar bay, we have specific Alpine seats here which are different from the Esprit Alpine versions.
We have a specific carpet, we have this paint, we have the suspensions, we have specific rims. As you can see right here. This time the rims are 21 inches. We have the same braking system. We just have a few small parts of the running gear that have been reviewed, and this suspension. After that, it's similar, but with a large battery in the trunk and an electric motor on the rear axle. What I'm going to do is take you around, do the tour by hand directly to show you the few small differences and review a little bit the details of this car. And what interests you the most of the time, is the trunk. Does it work when I have the key in my pocket and it's started? Yeah, I love it. I've used it. Opening of the electric trunk. It's a car that still wants to be premium, given the price. Over 60,000 euros, it's still a nice toy. We lose some trunk space due to the battery pack under the floor. Originally, we had 165 gallons. Now we're down to 142.266 gallons. But when you go shopping, as you can see there on this little video, well, there's plenty of space. Do you know me? With enough water packs, Nico fits in easily. So here I have the charging cable for the house to be able to charge at home at night. And that's where it costs the least. But look, if I get in, there would be enough room to fit another person here quite easily. The trunk space is pretty good for me, including the storage under the floor. We don't have much this time, because there are only batteries. So there you go, small hook over there, hook on this side. An LED, a cigarette lighter socket, quite a bit of space, the bench that will be low in 40, 20, 40. 2 top tether and ISOFIX fittings. I'm changing my habits slightly and showing you the back like this. Big madness today on the channel. And there is carpet a little bit everywhere, no plastic, it does not scratch, it's not bad. Just on the top, the plastics with the hooks. Here, I endure here with the little elastic and there that carries something. I think it's really made for the wand. It's going to be at our place. Come on, I'm closing. Wait, don't move. I'm going to put away the tripod, all that. Come on, I'll take you around the car like that. So, here, we can see it as it is matte. It has totally different reflections, and I admit that it's rather pretty. I, for one, like this style. It really brings something to it. Over here, on this side, the Atelier Alpine badge, which makes it different compared to the Alpine Spirit, it is a little bit different as well. So on the side, we find these 21-inch rims in 245 on all 4 corners. So this normally allows for good traction and good road handling. It's quite nice. It's imposing, this Rafale, and even its look like that, I admit that I like it a lot. With the matrix lights, so grille here of the Rafale, and which little by little goes from blue to black until it blends in like that with all these little diamond facets everywhere. The driving aids are integrated directly into the Renault logo. Mate, 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 mate. A bit of shine on the bottom, with the small reminders of blades at this spot, the half diamonds on the side, Renault's new signature, the LED lights. There, as you can see, and especially me, what I love is this part here. You see these rainbow things here, it looks really good, and you can see it in real life. I admit it's really pretty with the little diamonds inside. It's a very beautiful car, and likewise these little details in the lights I find pretty, they are fine, aesthetic. We can see on the hood the lines, so the advantage is that the matte, it really brings out the lines, we see it much better. The rims, I'm getting closer, so much bigger rims, the small simple calipers at the back and at the front. I even like the nuts, it's a small detail but rather nice. Small line on the side that crosses. A fairly simple style, and this coupe sport utility vehicle, a little bit sporty, quite big. There, we can see like that he is really strong. Hatch on each rear side, one for gas, one for recharging. 3/4 back, we sense the vehicle's violence and aggressiveness. With the little spoiler here, this, it might just be missing here. A little spoiler, a little carbon blade, it would be perfect. So this, with the little cat ears there, it looks a bit like what is done almost everywhere. The shark-type antenna, the solar bay on top, and the lights that just went out because the car had been running too long. Fire at the back also need help. The Rafale, note on this side the E-Tech to remind you. But if you don't know, it's a 300 horsepower without looking at the Alpine workshop over there, you won't know it's a 300 horsepower. I'm taking you inside, don't move, I'm changing the lens. Because otherwise it won't be wide enough. We'll start with the back seats. So, as you can already see, a very specific blue environment to this version as well. The hard plastic on the top of the back is disappointing for a car at this price, especially from Atelier Alpine. Then we have a similar finish here with the blue, white, red to remind us that it's French, the little Alpine side. So then everything we touch here, it's quite pleasant. The door bins on the inside, the foam's in blue as well. At first glance, it's nice, especially this upholstery that's going to please me, perforated with Alcantara and this kind of rather nice leather. Alright, I just got in here inside. I enter and these seats, so I'm very well supported.
They are hollowed out on the sides, are hollowed out at the seat level clearly. Normally, I should not move if I'm well wedged.
Nicholas 1.80 m, you can see that I still have space here at the head level. I have my little plane here, the Quadrant Gust, placed on top directly by laser, or I don't really know how it's done. Rather nice to see the little plane. We can have fun with the clouds. I have space at the knees, the feet. It's okay, however, as the seats are low, we have the impression that it's an electric platform. Almost because we have a nearly flat floor and the floor is not hugely dug out, so we sit lower. Because it's a kind of coupe sport utility vehicle, so it makes that I still have the legs that go up quite a bit and I'm not held here at the thigh level, and I can't be held because I can't put my feet further because the seat here, it's low and set, very low, so I can't slide my feet underneath. Otherwise, I still feel it. At the shoe level, I'm a little bit compressed. That's a little bit of a shame. Where I would have liked it to be higher, but we should have dug more up there. Well, complicated in all these design stuff. Or otherwise we have a tray here lower down. But it really gives the feeling that it's designed for electric and there might already be some space planned underneath. Afterwards, I'm good at the head level, at the shoulder level of a corridor. Here I have an armrest here, so specific to the Rafale. Well, to you, how does it work? Yes, he doesn't want to. No, but I don't want to. I don't want all this. It's the central corridor. Go on. Maybe well hung, so it's central corridor, so that it makes, on the other hand, a central corridor of an airplane. The thing is huge, like a business plane. With the same faux leather here, the over pictures, the cup holders, and the cup holders that are specific. Precisely to be able to hold the phones or tablets that had been made like that there, so that I could integrate my phone there. So we can watch together, and if we are two, we can do it there. And we can put a big tablet in the middle, or else each one his phone on his side. The phone holder, it's pretty cool, or tablet, and we have USB-C ports right here to be able to recharge and connect directly. So that's pretty good. Good idea to keep the kids busy in the back. And we have two USB-C ports here. So if we want to add the wire, we have planned to make the wire go through right here. It's pretty good. And this, on the other hand, is really a big corridor part. The middle place. So we have a small tunnel here that goes up a bit. So here we go. So when I'm here, the seat is very comfortable. It's soft. It's top notch. However, here I'm really in a triangular position. It's not easy for an adult to make a long journey. 6. You'll have to place your feet a bit like this, but we'll quickly get in other people's way. Because when I overtake afterwards, I still have room at the head, I still have room at the knees. This, I've moved back more than myself. I have room for my feet, however, and I'm not going to touch the rails. And even here, it's rare to be able to put your feet here in front of this plastic part of the central console. It's quite spacious, but as mentioned, I'd prefer the seats to be slightly higher or the floor more recessed. Then again, we can't complain too much. It's still pretty good in the back. As I often say, the ideal thing is to go and see for yourself, go to Renault, sit in the back. Now, we move inside to the fridge handles, located here and at the back. A simple feature. I'm opening Ford control. We don't forget the Ford control. That's the light, Ford control. Then 4-wheel steering. That's a real plus on this car. At the front, it's foamed on the top, unlike the back. A small LED part here lights up and is found on the dashboard's other side. Over there and over there, Harman Kardon sound with a rather good sound. Plastic parts here, metal style, the overstitching, the blue, white, red here, which is pleasing, like at the back. Here, the buttons control 2 windows, 2 mirrors, and the door bin. Here you can see a disc that goes in quite easily there. And we can put large bottles with this blue carpet here. It's soft, it's pleasant to the touch, and it's rather pretty. The carpets, also Alpine specific, with the door sill, it's noted Alpine. That's the little thing that pleases. Electric seat. Little thing is that we have the massage seat for the driver and the Alpine here. So I don't know if you see it there, but it's lit up at night. That's pretty cool. And it flashes when we turn on the car at night with a nice little animation with the matrix lights as well. Next, this is what the cockpit looks like. On the pedal board, we find the Renault Sport pedals of the time that we had on a Megane Rally Sport, for example, or the Alpines. Handbrake auto hold. Here's how to disable driving aids with the BEEP for overspeed, etc. The My Safety Pro. Disable the electronic stability program, open the trunk, open the fuel cap. Steering wheel adjustable in height and depth. And I'm going to come inside. It's cold outside today, so I'm going to back off. Beautiful artistic sun with a small flare. Wow, steering wheel, the steering wheel, as we know it at Renault now, except for specificity. We have Alcantara here on the lower part, so that's pleasant to the touch. That's where the steering wheel is, and it's heated. However, our rants from Nicholas, the heated steering wheel is heated from here to there and from there to there. This is not heated. Nico is very unhappy. So I don't know why you did that, but when I'm here in the winter, it's cold, I'm here. Yes, I grab my steering wheel, there, it's cold in the morning and I'm there. No, so I would have liked all the wind to be heated.
So either it's a defect of this one or it was made like that, but a little bit of a shame.
The multi-sense here, which allows me to have comfort.
The eco mode, the sport mode, which changes the themes each time to switch to red lighting, etc.
The sport snow mode as well. A snow mode, since we have a four-wheel drive, it can be interesting. And personal mode that we can customize. I leave it on comfort mode most of the time. It's much better. We will of course test the other modes during this trial. On this side, we have the information here with the scrolling menus. We're used to it. We're starting to know.
There, like that, like that, like that.
Or the map. I like the map with my speed, the navigation and the info all displayed. For example, we can see this League 4. On my usage, we will do a little debrief at the end about the consoles hung up on the phone. Change the information here, for example, scroll it like this or delete the information each time for the menus. The information can be included or excluded in all menus. The meal scenes, which I mentioned earlier, are on this side. The driving aids with level 2 driving. Select the modes and match the speed of the displayed sign with paddles behind. To use the region, you can have it right here. For example, I'm at 0 region. I can 1, I can 2, and I can 3. So I have 3 levels of electric recovery, and that's pretty good. The gearbox here. So, drive down air, up parking by pressing the little button behind the lights. On this side, with the auto fire mode, as we have matrix lights, I advise you to leave it on auto and the windshield wipers. And the music command. We can see the blue, white, red stitching also here, inside the steering wheel. I won't go back on that. I've already made dedicated videos for you. It's the screen. With Android Automotive, we can download our CarPlay Android Auto apps wirelessly. Everything is going well. We have Google Maps integrated directly, so it's ideal.
The car settings are in this place. You have all the settings here. This, I have already shown you the dynamic chassis. This is just for you to know.
Do I have steering angle, for example, over there on the right, for example? There, if I turn the wheels to see that it gives me steering angle, it gives me the inclination. The percentage of power at the front and at the back. We can activate the cameras right here. 360-degree camera, as you can see, of good quality. It's quite pleasant, and in this way, rather not bad. Too bad they're not blue. My little Rafale, that's the little details in the cars. Then a home button that brings us back here with the map. With maps directly, I can search everything. We even have the charging stations, also charging strip if I need to go recharge, plus the radio. Some shortcuts. You can then customize all this, the music, the shortcuts. Phone, if you have connected via Bluetooth, the applications here, the line block at the bottom, 2 USB ports, it's to connect your phone. I always do it in wire. I prefer cup holder. And the specificity, so that we already had it in the Rafale, so induction charger. Here, it doesn't seem to be a fast one. And so this handle that moves forward, that moves back, that allows me to unlock here a small tray, and when I put myself back like this. Specificity of this car, it's the 5 mode here that I can activate. And there, it will allow me to switch either to hybrid, electric, or e-save. So that makes the difference. It's 3 modes. The hybrid is basically, it's the car that manages. The electric is 100% electric. And the e-save, it's the one that will make sure to manage and always leave you a part of the battery to preserve. The best is hybrid or electric. The e-save, I don't use it much, unless you want to preserve the battery for later. His little box here, seeing it there, that's what bothers me. I had already said it on the Rafale, on Space and others. It's this part. So here we have the armrest. Here we have this, look, it's just covered plastic. Here it's a little bit foamy. Nicholas has long arms, but the steering wheel is too close. When he rests his elbow, it falls off. Here, this is hard. It's not pleasant. Renault, please, a little square here, there. At least where it's this, it's better. This, it's hard and it's not very pleasant. And the elbow, in fact, falls here. So they should have thought either this button, put it here, which would have been smarter, and extend this to this place there. And that it opens here. With all this, it would have been good, but there, not cool that. The little flaw of the car, I find the seats very beautiful, as we can see with the small perforations. The Alpine here, the headrest, and look at this large solar bay with the sun today. That's cool. What I always like with the solar bay is this electrochromic thing. So if it's good, it does it for me. So we can try half, we can try all, either the front or the back, depending on how we're going to do it. For example, here, I just want tense, and the back, hop, little by little, it comes that. I find that really cool. So we find it on all the high-end cars from Renault now, and I admit that it's a pleasure. The thing is attempted because we can see one. Compared to normal windows, there is already a tint, so even when there is sun, you will feel it, but much less than if it was a normal window. Then we have the LED touch. Right here, we have two of them. The Save Our Souls button. So this solar bay that I tint, the glasses box, that's pretty good. And since it's a family car, that's good, Renault. That way, I can see what the kids are doing in the back, if I have kids or adults, and even for talking, it's good. In fact, it allows me to take a glance and see when someone is talking to me, it's always more pleasant. The edgeless rear view mirror, the Armin Kardon sound system. Up there, a small high purchase display. Hard plastic, a little bit everywhere. This is ultra thinly cut slate. This is pretty, who touches sexy. Two vents at this location, the glove box here, of standard size, let's say. And then that's about it all. So what changes in this Rafale workshop pin is its little top stitching. It's this little A. Here it's a bit specific sky. And this series at the back with the belts with a bit of blue, and it's all blue mats. Rather pretty. Let's see how it gets dirty over time. It's a little box here to store 3 little things. Anyway, let's go try it out. We'll depart from Paris, test using 100% electric power, drain the battery, and then travel for a week without it. I decided not to recharge to see what it consumed when we couldn't recharge, which also happens sometimes when we go on vacation, when we have a long journey to make. And there, I'm going to drive quite a bit, so we'll see what it gives.
So let's go with this new Rafale. We will start in 100% electric.
So I press here on my little IV mode, so we have hybrid electric and save. I switch to electric and I want to stay in 100% electric on, I hope, 100 kilometers. As usual, you know me, we test the autonomy of cars in 100% electric. We work on all road types. With a 22 kilowatt battery, the aim is to fully deplete it. And currently, I have 695 kilometers in gasoline and 100 kilometers in 100%. So with the heating test, of course, hop, then we love the heating. 21 degrees as usual on both sides, and off we go. Let's go drive. So, already there, I came out of a small parking lot, which is great with the 4-wheel steering, despite the fact that it's a huge baby. Well, it's very, very easy to handle electric cars under these conditions. What's great is that there's no noise, but I feel like at my speed I have some kind of artificial sound. So, there's the pedestrian noise, and I feel like it's getting a bit into the cabin to give you that sensation still of wood movements. I'm going to go, as usual, to Fontainebleau. You know me, over there. I like Chateau de Fontainebleau over there.
It's just that it adds more to this engine.
Electric at the back. I press a little bit and there is a good acceleration. That's not bad. It even shows me now 101 kilometers. So if we start to do more than announced. Very nice. So here for the city, there is the very pleasant side, as I was saying. In fact, it's the side where it pushes anyway. Really not bad. So even in electric, clearly I can drive this car without any problem at daily. It's very smooth. I like the smoothness of the pedal. It's pretty good. The 100 kilometers, normally we are supposed to reach them if we mainly do city or small roads. I'm going to do a little bit just like usual with 90, 110 of 130. We're really going to have everything. There, we went back up, and if it's the N118 coming out of Boulogne, catching up towards Versailles, it climbs a lot. And even like that in Elec, I have a good recovery, sure. Needs to accelerate its recovery enough without having to start the thermal engine. It's really not bad. We have little rolling noise to hear who can. So the water that goes up in the Agro, because, well, as it's raining and it's wet, we hear a little bit of water plus a little bit of the drops. Unfortunately today, but it remains a premium car that has been made to be more soundproof. And I have the windows a little bit laminated. Here. We are rather well in his little cocoon put there. It's 70 to 70. We are good. Come on, I raise it to 90, that there. I know that it goes to 90, same, it still doesn't restart me. The thermal engine, it relaunches well, even at higher speed, we will see later. It provides up to 83.88 miles per hour for 100% electric driving. Then the thermal engine starts. It's a good car. And I'm just asking them to hit the road and test what it will give when we run out of battery. The nice little thing also, if they put this pallet behind, we can play with the recovery, though it doesn't affect the gearbox when we use it. For instance, I can play with my recovery, and that's it. It's quite practical, like a real electric car would do. They put them in. They are easily accessible. You enter into... Nice touch. We have Waze that announces it to me, but also we have the subscription with the car that tells me, be careful. I can't recall if we have the TomTom, Coyote, or another subscription. It warns me about radars as well. Calm down, we're going to lower your volume. And I find that the pallets are quite practical. I continue my little bit like this, playing with my little pallets and my salvage. And what if I put nothing? I have a freewheel, and the freewheel also, it's pretty good, but there is still a little bit of recovery. For the moment. But I'm at 15 kilometers. I lost the equivalent of 20 kilometers because there was the big climb. We didn't go down much, we'll see. What do you think, you? I've driven 21.125 miles so far with 37.28 miles of range remaining. It has dropped slightly compared to the initially announced 100. I've been driving without exceeding 90 kilometers per hour so far, trailing behind trucks or with a little bit of traffic on the N. 104 here, it goes up to 110, so what I'm going to do now is also set it to 110. I let it pick up speed on its own. I set it with the cruise control command. It picks up speed, of course, always in electric. And that the advantage of a plug-in hybrid is being able to make a long journey. And almost everything on a daily basis. In 100% electric. At 110 kilometers per hour. As soon as there is no more rain, it remains very well soundproofed. It's very quiet in the cabin. Rolling noises come up slightly, but that's normal. There is anyway no other noise. At 70 miles per hour, there is no wind noise either. It's very well insulated, and even if I place myself like this against a double glazed window, we hear much less of the outside noise. Here, it goes at 130 kilometers per hour, so what I do is that I set my cruise control. It accelerates quite correctly, even at 100% to the eagle. This way, at 130 kilometers per hour, we start to hear a little bit of flank. It's normal, 80.78 miles H, still rolling slightly, with all my driving aids still in place. Little wind noise, is it blowing a bit? It's not blowing much today. The rolling noises are relatively well contained. No engine noise or vibrations, only electric motors running. It remains relatively correct. Let's not forget, therefore, 130 kilometers per hour still. There's always a little bit of rain, so you can hear the drops a bit, but a little bit of wind noise. Then it's a gust, it's made to cut through the wind. But we have a big sport utility vehicle, even if we have a fairly inclined forecourt, as we have a glass roof without an obscuring part. In physics, it plays a little bit because it resonates a hair, even if they have still treated the glass specifically for that, but it will play a hair. So we hear a little bit more than if we hadn't had this all to glaze. Afterwards, it remains relatively comfortable. As I was saying, we put on a little bit of music, it's time for the road. Here I am at about 50%. It considers our driving habits. It told me there were 37 kilometers left, knowing I had already done 46. So, unfortunately, we're going to go below 100 kilometers. But let's not forget that I did it with the type of environment. If we only do small roads at 70 to 100 kilometers, in my opinion, there will be a way to hold them. I arrived after 57 kilometers. I have 24 kilometers of electric left on a small road here. Very, very degraded. I'm used to passing, and it's really uncomfortable. Possible. We are going to test this piloted suspension with this active camera that reads the road, so nothing to hide from you. Rather well. We feel that we are still in a car that still wants to be, in character, minimally dynamic, because it's super lively, but when I say it's super lively, it's incredibly lively. We'll try to read too much the little one in thank you sir there. He relaunches, and we were not supposed to hide in electric mode, not even in sport mode. I'm really in electric. It turns, and you really feel that the back says hop, we take it and we will go, no matter how we will go. But already on small wheels like that, that's it. It's very, very, very nice. It leans a little bit to keep a minimum of comfort. Because I'm in electric mode, in sport mode, and my lively success, the 0 to 100 million. Not that it's wet. We will then test the heavy braking, put the bag there, otherwise it will fly, so I have the auto hold. Let's go for a 0 to 100. It starts off calmly. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Rather not bad would be rather good then. However, I'm quite surprised at the way it dives, considering it has a controlled suspension for heavy braking. It still goes a little bit to the front. The brake pedal is very special, it's direct. Ah yes, because here I have the regeneration paddles, I don't have 100. We still have a specific feeling, because in all cases at the beginning it's a regenerative braking. Elec, and we have a quite special transition. The vehicle switched to the brake pads, which are rarely used in daily driving unless hard braking is required, not during the typical 6 steps of braking. We will almost always be in electric, except at the end there will be a small part of pads. Otherwise it gives the impression that it's like a memory foam mattress, you know, when you press on it. In fact, it does a bit the same thing. I have the impression that it's an endless support, and after a while it starts to be a little bit firmer. So I arrive on this very winding road where I'm still in electric. We'll go back once the battery is exhausted, see what it gives in sport mode. So now my little chassis with the 4-wheel steering does the job so well. It's so easy. It's so wet. On the other hand, I immediately feel the weight. Indeed, it opens up a little bit. And it tends to go quite fast. It's so heavy. Afterwards, it's tempered. However, the suspension works very well. I stay comfortably salty in my car. The car stays rather flat. It takes the turns. I think we won't test it in sport mode, since it already has a pretty calm pace. We have a little bit of understeer, so it's not going to be great. Here, it slides quite easily. Then, it's not the kind of wheel that grips the most, but I feel that the chassis has a lot of ease. On the other hand, a very dry wheel would be necessary for fun. I hope there will be a few days with nicer weather during the week I have. Because in the rain, it will be a very good everyday car. However, the weight is slightly noticeable. I have 1 kilometer left displayed in electric to Travis. I've done how much? The engine hasn't started yet. 1 kilometer. Is the end near? I keep telling myself the girl Gero, but I'm still at 9. And no, it should not be long before it switches back to hybrid. 75.3 kilometers. And that's it. I switched to hybrid. We just started the engine. Well, 75 kilometers. Indeed, it's not 100 kilometers. It's under the best conditions, knowing that today it's 9 degrees, so maybe a little colder earlier. And I set the heating to 21 in the cabin. I drove, I think I left at 11 o'clock, a little more than an hour, all types of roads with the highway of the portamental nationality, acceleration, etc. So, for me, I don't find that frankly ridiculous. 75.3 kilometers for the daily normally. Here, I really made a mix for you. Do you do 75 kilometers a day? Knowing that this type of car is really made to be recharged at home every night to be able to use it daily. No, use full electric mode and minimize starting the gas engine. And besides, I would like the brands to make sure to say the thermal engine at so many kilometers, the electric engine at so many kilometers. Because yeah, the PHEVs now, a lot of people are driving 100% electric, so it doesn't start the thermal engine. So cars don't wear out like they used to. I'm getting to Fontainebleau. I'm going to reset my consumptions to 0. So hop. 0 here in terms of consumption in liters to 0, because otherwise we were already basing ourselves there on roughly 80 kilometers at 0 liters in the center, since we were 100% electric. This time we are in thermal, so in hybrid. There, the engine has started. There, it is running at a stop to recharge the battery a little bit. Here it's the familiar 3-cylinder 0.2 liter engine that Renault has been using for a long time. We hear it a bit then. It is minimally soundproofed all the same, but it has a small presence, characteristic presence of the 3-cylinder, with always this E-Tech engine. In the presentation, it brings us 150 horses this time. So when I'm at 70, the engine runs. It will have several phases. It will have phases where we will hear a little more, a little less. It will really depend on him. His goal is to recharge optimally so that he can then switch to electric. The gas meter indicates 435 miles. We'll see what we're going to do. Knowing that now, as I told you, I've reset everything and normally it started. So now I'm keeping it for a week, starting from today, so I've left it at 0, we're off again. I will also do a debrief at the end to describe what it looks like. Here, we are in hybrid mode then. On the multi-sen, I have the comfort mode, Eco, Sport, Snow, and personally the Eco mode. It restricts me a little bit. The power to the accelerator pedal thanks to a slightly different mapping, which gives a softer response. Then there is the sport mode, which afterwards, it will change the screen, put the lighting in red, and it will tell me, okay, you want to have a little more fun, I am more ready, and above all, I will give you the maximum response. No matter the demand on the accelerator pedal, which will give us the impression of having more power. We have more, delivering greater instant torque. The electric motors all work together, they don't drop the speeds directly. Because as we have torque, if we don't press hard on the pedal, there's no kickdown. So they don't downshift, as the thermal engine already provides some power along with the electric ones. The combined electric motors will likely produce at least 200 horsepower, providing substantial power.
If I need to go faster, I go to kick down, and there, on the other hand, I'm a little disappointed.
There, I made them give, so it started quite quickly, but it seems too graduated. So move, we start over, we slow down the click in, okay, little disappointment. It takes a crazy amount of time before it can downshift and not be able to rev up. We have the power anyway, but here we go fast, but it still takes a lot of time. But we still have the instant response of the electric that takes us all at once. It's really too beautiful. Well, it's too cool. I'm going to come back and take a picture right after. It's too beautiful. We have the electric side. The box comes right away but it still works. Let's not forget that even if we no longer have any battery displayed, there is always a battery capacity where we can use full power. So it's not going to last 20 kilometers. To accelerate and overtake, I have all the power needed, which allows me to achieve it in 3 years. Frankly, I must admit it accelerates quite strongly. The meter is going crazy. As I was saying, it's a big, comfortable car, so we don't always feel the speed. We arrive at a small, winding road. I need to test the sport mode to see how it changes directions compared to the regular mode. What I don't like is the multisense. It's too long. In fact, from the moment I press and something happens, it's a bit of a shame. It's a shame there's no one to help me do tramming today. It would have been incredible. The decor is too beautiful. In sports like here, we have far more answers. Be careful, there are leaves, it's wet, the brake pedal, it stays the same all the time, it opens a lot. It's a shame that it's like this. On the other hand here, the sport chassis has become incredible. It feels like having a Megane Rally Sport almost. Or there on the other hand, the weight is really felt and does the rear not carry at all. It's going to be really more type and traction, so even in sport, for example, the car is not going to launch and have a behavior like a bit sporty car. It's really just going to open up. And a little bit the advantage also of these bursts. That's it, four-wheel steering. I make my U-turn, such a big car. The four-wheel steering, for me it becomes almost mandatory. I resume the road in a normal way, and we will see what it gives in terms of consumption. I keep this little part where I accelerated a little bit, because to have this part of a little bit of madness in the afternoon. So keep going like this. It's back to 80, small country road with the old covers there. Very abrasive. The engine of the agreement, since he recharged a bit, he did his little phase. It's quite pleasant. We are on one of the highest ratios, I suppose. There is always a small combination between the electric and the thermal. I mainly hear the bits of rolling the engine. It remains relatively correct under these conditions. Well, over 39.7 kilometers, so roughly 40 kilometers, I have an average of 6.5. Without having done any highways, just small roads, a little bit of city, it consumes a little bit more than the usual high-tech. The new model is heavier, bigger, more spacious, and more comfortable with larger tires. So we will see on other types of roads, him, and maybe make a video with friends. We will see taking the highway and others. See what it gives at high speed with the trunk loaded on. The highway and a trip starting on the weekend, basically, what it gives in terms of consumption. After 238 kilometers, there was rain and cold and humidity, all that there. It's dry today, only today, so I absolutely had to go test this car dynamically on small roads. I said to myself, come on, let's go next. Put myself in sport mode, which changes him. So like using my response to the accelerator, my direction a little bit, or beautiful B.M, that I love. It's the Series 3, the steering, that changes the rear wheels normally, which also changes a little bit. Who had exactly the same feeling. The acceleration, it's a hair more. Brutal, and we'll see if we really have. It's 300 horses expected. What? Anyway, because for me, that's what would please me.
If I place myself in the middle of these empty fields, on a closed road where there's absolutely nobody around.
We're going to test the 0 to 100. Let's go in sport mode. So the accumulated 33, 47, 60, and 1, 74, 85, and 105. Actually, it's pretty good. I'm going to put my bag on the ground. It's going to fly. Otherwise, we're doing a little 100 to 0, 100 to 0. So you can feel a little bit of the weight on this car. As I was saying, no, it's much better than on the wet. The brake pedal, it's always very soft. It always has that same feeling. It's quite soft. When you press, it brakes and dives a bit still. Yet a slightly controlled suspension, I would have liked it to stay much flatter. Well, why not? Because afterwards, when I do this, we feel little difference. But then, it's not a real controlled suspension. As we can see, for example, at Volkswagen or others, where it really stiffens, it's just a damping that is a little bit changing, more or less hard.
Small road where there is absolutely no one.
We're going to test in sport, really, so it pushes a little, but as it's very comfortable, we don't feel it.
There is a big bite when the transition from electric to pads happens. Otherwise, we feel that we already have a good recovery.
The chassis is getting intriguing.
On the dry, it's already much more pleasant. Oh yes, we can feel the four-wheel steering, yeah. There, it's starting to become something else. On the reaccelerations, honestly, it works. big braking, so we feel the transition. Then we feel that the weight the front smile a bit, but you still have to go strong because the rear wraps so well. Honestly, it's very pleasant in the end. So now, however, we start to see something more pleasant and just dynamic. It's not too bad, the car doesn't crash too much, it stays pretty flat. We take it a little bit, it accelerates strongly, in fact it holds up well. The SP is there to tell you not to mess around too much, it becomes cooler.
Since I put the e-save, it always recovers a little bit of energy. I always have the cumulative power left.
In fact, the engine is almost nice when you rev it high.
You would need to rev it high because otherwise it vibrates, but here, not at all.
And there you go, it's more fun. But in reality, it's a healthy chassis, even if we come in strong. Light understeer, but as the rear leads thanks to strong control, it's rather playful. It transforms on dry ground into a very dynamic car, and especially made for turns already, the Austral is incredible. The space also comes. But it's true that with a wider chassis, it really has good supports.
And it remains comfortable, more because this road is still very degraded and bumpy. I like it.
In fact, you just changed your mind about this chassis and behavior, which in the end is actually much better in dynamics. But on the other hand, it has to be dry so that the weight feels a little less small.
Consumption point 342 kilometers completed. For now, there are 341 left, so 340 plus 340. That gives us 680.
That's about what was marked at the beginning in 695, so it really holds up well until now. And for now, we have an average of 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers, without battery, without having recharged, having done a little bit of everything.
Almost Paris region, no highway, still no 130. And there, today, normally, it should be set for the highway, it seems to me.
I'm quite certain about that. I hope so, to really test you.
But I'm going to try to go down there, We're going to head towards the countryside and we're going to see what it gives.
How much do we do with a full tank, plus the basic autonomy? Let's go. Well, it started. I hired 4 friends to leave. You may have already seen them.
Hello.
So, a little bit of highway because I had promised you. If you recognize these people and you know in which video you saw them.
I'm out of battery. This is off to a good start.
GoPro bug, as usual, we're off again. Always a little bit of elegance at the beginning, no matter, we have a bastard. GoPro problem, as usual.
I'm going to change cameras soon. We're going to redo the highway exit. We're going to do a little 0 to 100 with the car loaded, trunk loaded, and 400 people.
To see a little bit of these 300 horses. We're going to try to go through here.
Be careful, are you ready?
Come on, kids, let's go.
A little jerk at the start. You barely feel the acceleration, we're already at 100. In fact, do you feel like you're going 100 kilometers an hour? Not at all.
This car is comfortable and it doesn't give you the sensation of speed. And we are so much in a big toy that we don't feel too much.
Clearly 130, regulator, all that, as usual, level 2 driving. I don't like driving. Let's go.
So at high speed, we still have quite decent soundproofing on the side. We hear a little bit of the rolling noises, a little bit of the wind noises. Do you in the back find it well soundproofed?
We still hear a little bit. You drive a Tesla, do you find that in a Tesla? It's better.
Even there, the engine noise is present, contributing to the interior resonance.
We hear it a little bit, but I find that it's not the most present thing. It's more the sound of the wind that we would hear a little bit, with a bit of water rising, because it's a little bit humid.
For those who saw it, it has snowed. After readjusting and resetting, it remains correct. Earlier, it was going pretty well. In fact, when we start getting used to the moment, we have an average of 7.6. We are about to leave. We drove 100 kilometers on the highway, so it didn't increase much. I'll handle it on the way back. We'll do just over 74.565 miles all highway, and I'll reset to 0 to see the consumption when we're only on the highway. Well, here we are in Burgundy, with an average of 7.6 liters. So it hasn't really moved. I have 98 kilometers of autonomy left, and so far I've done 520. So, we consumed a little bit more on the highway. We'll see on the way back exactly how much. Well, now we're making the return trip. As I told you, I'm going to reset the highway consumptions to 0. That way I can give you an idea. At 520 kilometers, the reserve kicked in and it asked me to refuel. So, now I'm starting from scratch. Now, we're only doing a highway for more than 100 kilometers. I reset to 0. Average at 7.6 liters, as I was telling you. And on the tone, average at 7.6 liters, as I was telling you, and on the tone. So, after having done 95.3 kilometers of highway without ever leaving the 130 kilometers per hour, I have an average of 7.5 liters. So we had an average of 7.6 liters over 600 kilometers. So, we can see that on the highway, we are at the same average as daily use without an empty battery. When I was in town, I noticed a little bit more. We had gone up to 8 liters, about 5, with already a range achieved. So we can go up to almost 9 liters in town, but on the highway at 130 kilometers. However, I am at 131, close to double those at 137.5. This gives you a good idea when you can cross France, and you will do about 500 kilometers before redoing the plan. Let's have a brief review of the Renault Rafale after a week of driving it.
So, it's a frankly pleasant car. It's spacious. We're comfortable in it.
A car that now wants to be the flagship of Renault, the top of the range. So we have the nice roof, we have the nice seats, we have the pleasant interior. It's pretty good. Would we take this one or the E-Tech? 200 horses. So personally, I would take the 200 horses, even though this one is very good. Alpine did something a little more specific to this chassis if it did the same thing on the 200 horses, which is lighter. I think that would be incredible because it was already top of the top. But you can still feel the weight of this car, the fact that it's a plug-in hybrid. The range is around 46.6 miles, which is good. Some cars can now do a bit better. So you have to play around with that a bit. Renault, they're not the experts in plug-in hybrids. They are good with the basic E-Tech with a weight that remains relatively contained. This one, in my opinion, it will be more for companies that do not want to have TBS or tax benefits on the deduction of the battery price. Personally, I would choose the 200 horsepower version. The 300 horsepower works well, but we don't feel the extra power much. It's a big, quite comfortable car, but the plug-in hybrid side, it's only for people who live in the city. Apart from that, I don't see the point. We've seen the consumption. Almost no matter the conditions. 7 liter 6, whether we're on the highway without a battery or 7 liter 6 mixed without a battery, it will be about that. We can go down to about 7 liters. Depending on how we drive in Ile-de-France, maybe on small country roads, it could be a little bit better, but for me, I would go for the simple hybrid version, lighter, a little bit cheaper. Even without an Alpine workshop on the other version, it would be great if Renault could do the Alpine workshop on it. That would be the perfect version with 200 horsepower, which is relatively sufficient for daily use and which lowers. After the chassis, while it's still in decent condition, you should have it on the dry to reduce some weight. To really enjoy it, I really like this car. 2 little things I would like a bit better would be for the massage seat to last a little bit longer and for the engine noise to be a tad better. Soundproofed on a plug-in hybrid, because when it restarts, it's true, you can hear it a little bit. The 3 cylinders, there you go. I would have preferred the 1.6, which is a little bit more discreet. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And then, little Alpine logo to say goodbye to you too. Ciao.